when they believed. The rest of the thing is, again, the covenant has to do its work, which means they have to be faithful to God from within. They have to be faithful to God. It's not like, earlier we were trying to do by our own effort, now Jesus did, so we only have to believe. That aspect itself is not there. That kind of a dichotomy itself is not there. Whether you were trying by yourself or Jesus did it for you for free, that is not the point. The point here is Jesus came to restore the covenant. Now the covenant has been restored, which was disturbed before in the garden and later with Israel when God's presence left them and their temple. That covenant has been now restored and renewed by the presence of the Holy Spirit through Jesus' death and resurrection event, which gave them forgiveness and access to Holy Spirit. Because of sin only, this covenant was broken. But because of forgiveness, which comes by believing in what Jesus did, of course, that believing part is there. I'm not saying you don't have to believe. You have to believe. But that is only for the restoration of the covenant. After that, it's again the same thing. You have to be faithful to the covenant. Otherwise, Jesus' death is meaningless to you. And from God's perspective. So it's not that, earlier you were doing some effort to get right with God. Now God has done some effort and you don't have to do any more effort. That idea itself is not there. Whether you were trying to do or not trying to do doesn't matter. God had a covenant with you before. That covenant was broken. That covenant was renewed with Israel. Again, the covenant was broken because of human disobedience. That covenant is now being renewed for the final time by Jesus. And now in this covenant, renewed covenant, if you are a member, God has given you promises of life in the age to come and a lot of blessings that are to come and a lot of blessings that you can experience here and now. And God has promised you life and love and His Spirit. And He is enabling you from within to love God more than anything else and to love others as you love yourselves. And you still have to remain faithful to God. It's not just, believe and sit there. It's about being faithful to God. It's an active relationship, not a passive thing. You received and now you die, no problem, you would be in heaven. That's not the point at all. The point, again, as N.T. Wright would say, it is not about going to heaven at all. The point is to return to earth, life after death, as N.T. Wright would say, to return to this earth again and reign in this world, upon this world with Jesus as royal priests forever. So right now the love aspect is restored and the life aspect will be fully restored when you come alive with Jesus in the age to come. And right now you are just being prepared for the age to come so that you would know how to love others as you love yourself and love God more than anything else, because that is the only thing you would be doing there too. Love would be the natural language of that place or the native language of that place. Love is what you would be doing in that place, which would be a renewed creation. It is not that you will be going to heaven somewhere distant and then you will be playing guitars. That's not what it is all about. That is not at all what it is all about. Of course, there is some reality to it. Of course, there is a place where dead people are with Jesus, and maybe many things are happening there. Many people can see through this curtain and understand what is going on there. They are called the seers, like John in Revelation. He could see what is behind the curtain. Many people get these kind of visions today also by the Holy Spirit. And that is inspirational, that helps us, that strengthens us to follow God. But in the age to come, in the coming age, what would you be doing when you are resurrected fully? You will have similar bodies, physical, yet immortal and incorruptible. There will be no death, no disaster, no decay, no defeat, no disease, nothing that is associated with death. And there will be no devil to deceive you. All these deeds will go away. Only God's presence will be there and you would be fully alive in a material, physical body that would never die, that would never get corrupted, that would never decay. And you would be doing love. The same thing that Adam and Eve were perhaps created to do, even better than what they were doing. So now, if this is the final end, this is the human vocation, this is the beginning and this is the end, then in the middle also, until we reach there, this is what God intends of us to do. That is to reflect God's glory, to reflect His love, His life into this world, to bring life where there is death, to bring healing where there is suffering, to bring beauty where there is chaos and ugliness, to bring order where there is chaos, to bring righteousness and love and goodness everywhere. That is what we are supposed to do. That is kind of a creativity, like God has created everything, like out of nothing, out of chaos. We are also creative people. We need to do things that are creative, that are representative of life and of love and of beauty and of goodness. And we have to love others, serve others, show kindness, show generosity, show compassion to the weak, the sick, the hungry, the poor. And these are the things that we are supposed to do. Now, these are the things that the Bible contains. There is no framework called rich and poor. You can use glasses of rich and poor, and then look at the Bible and look at all that is about rich people, all that is about poor people, and derive wrong conclusions, because that is not at all the framework which is used. You are using this framework, this frame for your glasses to read the Bible, and you are seeing rich and poor. It's not there. In the same way, you can use the framework of sannyasa yoga, that is renunciation, and then look at the Bible. There you will see worldly things, spiritual things. That dichotomy is also not there. This is a pseudo dichotomy that is imposed upon us. Worldly things that take you away from God, spiritual things that bring you closer to God. This dichotomy is not there. It is because you use these lenses that you feel that that dichotomy is there. That is not at all the framework. The whole framework is about God created humans in His image to love. To love Him and to love each other. And that is the human vocation, and to take care of the whole creation in love. In that, there may be richness happening, there may be poverty happening, it doesn't matter. There is nothing in this world that is profane by definition. It is the way you use it that makes it profane. You can use money for personal greed and luxury when a person is going through suffering right in front of you, whose suffering you could have alleviated with the same money. Then this spending becomes profane. This spending becomes against God. Your money, your wealth is not against God. Your owning wealth is not against God. You're using wealth for things of indulgence when there are others suffering whom you can see and identify with, and you don't care. That is where the problem happens. You are not reflecting God to them. You are not reflecting God's love to them. That is the paradigm. That is the way you have to look at things. Otherwise, you would just want to live as poor and wretched and as a suffering person all your life because you think that is a blessed condition. That is not a blessed condition. God called people, when He called first Adam and then Abraham's family, to bless them. God said to Abraham, I will bless you. And God said, I will make your name great. And then God says, I will bless those who bless you, and those who curse you I will curse. And finally He says, you will be a blessing to others. In you, all families of this world will be blessed. This is the covenantal blessing. God has called you to be blessed first. If you are not blessed, how can you bless others? Blessedness does not mean that you must own a lot of properties. Blessedness does not mean that you must be a very wealthy individual. Blessedness does not mean that you must be a very poor individual, or you must be a very sick individual. What does blessedness mean? Blessedness means that you have to be in a right relationship with God, the covenant. You must be faithful to God as God is faithful to you. Then God will do His part and you will be empowered by God's Holy Spirit to do your part. That is the blessed condition. It has nothing to do with all those external things and lenses that we are using. So how does it work out? It works out in this way. You may be a wealthy person, you may have a lot of money, and suddenly you see a poor man, a beggar, and you feel merciful towards that beggar because you have to reflect God's image into that person of love. You would take care of that beggar. You would love that person. You would heal that person. You would give them some material blessing or material prosperity or whatever it is. And the beggar's life has become better. You have become a source of blessing to that beggar. But you are already blessed. You're not doing this to get some blessing from God, from heaven. You are doing this because you're already blessed. You're not doing this because you have to renounce, you have to live in some kind of a renunciation mode all the time, and you look like a beggar, and you make the beggar look like somebody great. That is not what is intended. You're not doing again because you are rich and you feel guilty, and then because of Karl Marx you think that poor people, maybe Jesus was in favor of poor people and you're rich and you're wretched, and so you have to help the poor people. And then you help grudgingly, lovingly, whichever way, and you bring that Karl Marx guilt to an end. That is not what the Bible is about. The Bible has nothing to do with Karl Marx, communism. The Bible has nothing to do with sannyasa yoga or the path of renunciation. The path of renunciation is about seeking God, finding God kind of thing, where you renounce material blessings, material successes, wealth, in order to get closer to God. You are already closer to God. God is closer to you. You are in God. God is in you. And God is inside you. And this God has blessed you and has called you to be a blessing to others. This blessing includes you taking care of your body, your family, and you taking care of others as God is taking care of you. And everything, it has a certain kind of priority, of course, because you are in relationship with God first. So you have to take care of your relationship with God. You cannot sin with that particular beggar just because the beggar is needy. For instance, suppose this beggar is an adulterous woman, is a prostitute, and she has come for help, and you feel like, okay, she is poor and I am rich, I have a lot of money, how can I help? If I help her without taking anything, she would feel that I am just giving her some aid or something, and she may not feel right about it. So let me go and sleep with her and then enjoy her body, and after that I can give her some money for doing that for me, and I can end her poverty. So I am blessed, she is blessed, everybody is blessed. That is not what is implied. Okay, if your priorities are not right, if your relationship with God is not right, then this doesn't work at all. So the point is, first you have to be faithful to God. So if you're faithful to God, your body is God's temple, is a temple of the Holy Spirit. So if your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, you cannot associate the temple with something that is profane, something that is sinful, some practice that is morally corrupt and against God, which is called adultery. So you cannot go and sleep with a prostitute, certainly. That is out of the window, completely out of question. And now you are here with God, and you see this prostitute in trouble, and you want to pray, save them from their particular profession first.